Yep. You know what it is. I'm your humble host, Fizz Ed Music, and this right here, this is Urban Politics. Want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Please, as soon as you have a chance, take a little cell phone over to YouTube, like and subscribe. Fizz Ed Music, Urban Politics. Where politics lives. Without further ado, I want to jump right into it like a car and drive because there's all types of tasty and delicious politics to sink our teeth into. Number one, let's talk about how there was an oversight committee of Republicans who refused to sign a letter denouncing white supremacy. Is anybody surprised at that? When I read that, I was like, you can't be surprised at that. It's disheartening, but it's not surprising, right? The GOP has always cozied up to white supremacists and white supremacy. They have. For whatever reason, that's always been their thing. Even when you go back to, I think it was George Bush Sr. and the Willie Horton ads that he ran where they had, like, a white chick looking at their brother and stuff and, pumping up all these racial tropes of white men attacking, or black men attacking white women and all this other stuff. The GOP has always been on that. They've always wrapped their arms around David Duke and some of these other prominent Klan members and such. And, whenever these people come out in support of GOP members, they never want to denounce them. Trump, talking about, stand back and stand down, but he couldn't denounce the Proud Boys. He wasn't going to, his base is rooted in that movement. Ergo, he has to kiss the butt of any white supremacists that he sees. So that's what Trump is going to continue to do. Ergo, that's what anybody on the right is going to do. They all do it. They've always, like I said, had a cozy little relationship with white supremacy and neo-Nazism and all of that stuff. So, that is what it is. I've talked about it ad nauseum on this show. There's a lot of different reasons for that. A lot of different institutions that allows them to also get into once they start mixing in, like, religion and politics and all this other stuff. So that's where you get a lot of that stuff. But it doesn't surprise me now that not one Republican would sign off against white supremacy, right? And, if you ask a lot of them will say, well, there is no problem with white supremacy in this country. That's a made-up problem. It doesn't exist. So ergo, I'm not going to sign legislation saying we need to deal with a problem that doesn't exist. When anybody with eyes, anybody with ears, anybody paying attention knows that white supremacy is the number one threat to this country. Even, the FBI has said as such. So come on now. You know what I'm saying? The FBI has said that. They said that the number one threat to Americans, or it was domestic terrorism in the form of white supremacists. So come on now. If the FBI can admit it, then, why can't other people admit it? And I'm not going to lie. I have friends, or should I say I had friends, who were conservative, right? And this argument would come up and it would always get at me because for a person to sit there and say to me that white supremacy doesn't exist, that white supremacists don't exist. A friend of mine, he would always come at me about that. He was like, that's a made up problem. And I told him, I said, look, there's a man named Bill Riccio. I think he's still in prison now. I said, he's the guy who was head of the skinheads when it was these 4 teenagers who he had influenced to, like, drag a homeless brother to death. I think this happened in Texas. You can Google this. Dragged him to his death. Yeah, dragged him until, like, pieces of him were thrown throughout the city. And that was, influenced by Bill Riccio, a white supremacist, head of the skinhead movement at that time. So come on, man, don't tell me it don't exist and don't tell me it ain't a real thing. When these guys go and shoot up a place or whatever and they target minorities, the guy in Buffalo who targeted minorities, the kid in, was that South Carolina or North Carolina who targeted the 9 brothers and sisters who were in church of all things, Dylan Ruth, that piece of garbage. So come on, man, when you got stuff like that going on, you can't sit here and have an argument with me in good faith about race relations, but not be honest about white supremacy and not be honest about white supremacists. And when you're not, I then feel like I am betraying anyone who succumbed to that. I've talked about it on the show before. I'm gonna talk about it again. I feel like I'm betraying Trayvon Martin. I feel like I'm betraying Eric Garner. I feel like I'm betraying George Floyd. I feel like I'm betraying all those people when I sit here and talk to this person who wants to deny white supremacy or deny white supremacists. See what I'm saying? So, and then I can't talk to that person, so that kills that, right? So that's how that goes. But that is my point, and the GOP is on that, and it's sad. They really need to get off that. And I can't believe not one. And then I think about it too. I'm like, hold up, there are some black members of the GOP, right? I can't remember the brother's name. I'm not even gonna try and say it here on the show, but I know there's a brother or two up in the GOP. Did they not sign off on it too? But I bet you dollars to donuts they didn't. Because you can't be the black guy and sign off on a bill acknowledging white supremacy, because then you're acknowledging white supremacy and you're not in lockstep with the rest of your Republican brethren. Even though every fiber of your being is saying that, duh, obviously white supremacy is a thing, when even if you somewhere, somebody don't know that you a senator or a house member or whatever these brothers and sisters might be doing or whatever who didn't sign off on this, if people don't know who you are one night at a bar, you look good getting shot to death because you was black in a no black zone. So that's interesting, isn't it? So I'm wondering who amongst them didn't even have the cojones to sign this, men and women. Because I think there got to be some. I know there's female Republicans of color, they didn't sign it, and there's got to be male Republicans of color. I know, like I said, what I'm thinking of, did he not sign it? Did they not sign it? I don't know. That's something to investigate. Watch this space, as Rachel Maddow would say. I'm going to bring that to you later on. Anyway, let's move on. I want to talk about how billionaires will not save us. They will not. These people get all this money through whatever means, whether they own a factory or they come up with some ingenious idea that people latch onto and love and buy a bunch of. For whatever reason, they make all this money, and then people are thinking, well, this billionaire, this person must be smarter than the rest of us, right? Because they have more money than the rest of us. They're more successful than the rest of us. Ergo, they'll do something that'll help society. No, they won't. No, they won't. Number one, just because you have $1 billion does not make you intelligent. Let me say that again. Just because you have $1 billion does not make you intelligent. All that means is that, the Lord has smiled upon you and you got $1 billion. That's all that means. That's all that means. That's all that means. It's not even about you, because there's people better than you and more capable than you, and they didn't get $1 billion. For whatever reason, the timing was right for you, the stars aligned, the Lord smiled upon you, boom, you got it. But people need to stop sitting back and all these people who are billionaires thinking that they're like larger than life and they're going to save everybody. They ain't saving nobody. And it's sad because they don't even act like they're going to save anybody. They never say they're going to save anybody. And then they let you know with their actions that they're not interested in everybody. They're interested in themselves, right? Listen. So, you got Elon Musk running Twitter into the ground. And this is not a smart man, right? He spent all that money for Twitter. He got it. Come to find out, Twitter doesn't really make any money. Not like the money he spent on it. So it's going to be a long time before he even sees a return on all that cash that he doled out for this huge platform that he just running into the ground anyway. There's your intellectual giant. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's your super smart guy. You know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Man, get out of here. Elon Musk is a weird guy who made a bunch of money. There you go. He's a weird dude who does weird stuff, who made a bunch of money and makes bad business moves, because buying Twitter was a horrible business move. But whatever. We'll see what goes on with that. But there's another billionaire who ain't going to save us. Sam Bankman-Fried. The FTX was outed as a Ponzi scheme. That's the guy, maybe you've seen him. I think I talked about it on the show because it blew me away. This kid with an afro, who got all these people to invest in his made-up currency, his crypto coin, and him and his girlfriend took all these people on a ride and made all this money and lied about the coin and increased its value, just pulling the value out of their butt. What? Those people are definitely not going to save anybody, but they try to save themselves from a lengthy prison sentence right now, rolling over on each other. They ain't going to save humanity from nothing. All it was about with them and the rest of these people is about the money, the money, the money. It's all about the money. Still don't nothing move but the money. It's all about the cash, right? So that's all these people are interested in. Jeff Bezos is touting his philanthropy as Amazon lays off thousands of workers. And that's true. You always hear Bezos running around. I heard he said something about how he was going to give away the bulk of his money before he passed on. Okay, that's cool. That's honorable. That's noble. But how about helping all the people who have helped you make all that money and who are working for your company right now? You laying off all types of workers, but yet you run around the globe with this, doing this and doing that and being this big philanthropist. What's up with your workers, man? What's up with Amazon, yo baby? Why you just leave your baby in the lurch now? Now that you've gotten the bulk of the money from it or whatever, did your thing, you kind of just don't care anymore. These days, Jeff Bezos, I hate to say it, he's pretty much an absentee father over there at Amazon, ain't he? Does he ever do anything with Amazon? When's the last time you took Amazon out for some catch or something like that? That's the Bezos. For real though, but I mean, think about it, man. Think about it. This guy used that company to get to where he's at, and now that he's where he's at, he's so far away from it. It's like he don't even care about it. Oh, we laying off workers? That's cool. Do whatever you got to do to just keep, I've got my money, who cares? Just let the wheel just keep on turning the way it turns, and I don't really care. You don't really care. So that guy is not going to help humanity. He's too busy doing what? Helping himself. So the quote of the year that Robert Wright, and y'all know Robert Wright is I talk about stuff that he says all the time because I follow him on Instagram. He was saying that the billionaires will not save us. They are tearing society down, and we're all the collateral. And there it is right there. He said they are tearing society down and we're all the collateral. This ain't nothing but a game to them. You got billions of dollars. It ain't nothing but a game anyway. Right? I mean, think about it. You got billions of dollars. You have the type of money to where you can wake up today and just buy a couple of Bugattis and it doesn't mean anything. You bought a couple of Bugattis the same way a person would buy a couple of bagels. And it didn't mean anything. It meant nothing. You woke up one day and bought a company. You know what I'm saying? Bought an apartment complex. Didn't mean anything. It was no big deal. Just another day at the office for you. You bought it and went to lunch. There you go. See what I'm saying? So these people got money like that. You're not living a regular life, right? And you are kind of doing whatever you want to do. And that's what it is. At that point, everyone else is collateral because you're the billionaire. You got the billions. So everybody else is just other people. They just at your beck and call. I mean, I hope that a lot of them don't feel like this, but they got to at some point because they got billions. You got billions? Everybody else is just pawns in your game. This is your game. You got all the money. You're making all the moves, and everybody else is just waiting for you to tell them where to move, right? They're waiting a cue from you because you got the billions. So that's interesting to think about, and that is what it is. But wow. Yeah, billionaires ain't going to save us, ladies and gentlemen. Humanity, we need to come together and figure some of this stuff out on our own. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. The bank goes under in 48 hours. The bank goes under. Are you serious? This bank had tech company accounts. So unless you had they had like 175 billion in deposits. This was not a regular bank with regular deposits. This bank, I guess, only held like big accounts of like tech companies. So that's why they had this $175 billion in deposits. My God. $175 billion in deposits. That's a whole lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. And that bank went under. So think about that. It was the second largest financial failure in history. Joe Biden said no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Investors and banks won't be protected. They took a risk and they lost. I love that. When I seen him say that in that press conference, I'm going to say it again for you just so you can hear it again. I loved how it sounded to my ears. He said, no losses will be borne by the taxpayers. Investors and banks won't be protected. They took a risk and they lost. And that's real, ain't it? He said, we're not doing that bailout BS. It's a family show. Let me keep it family. We're not doing that bailout BS that we did a while ago, even under his boy Obama. But those were different times, different situation, different circumstances. But right now, Joseph Robinette Biden said, we ain't bailing nobody out. These guys, the investors is going to take the hits. The bank is going to take the hit. But the American people will not take the hit. And he said, we're going to make sure that these regular Americans who are poised to lose a bunch of money, we're going to make sure that they're taken care of, that they can pay bills, that they can feed children. But these investors in these banks, I hate it for you. Sorry for your luck. They took a risk and they lost. And I love how Joe Biden said it will not be borne by the American people. There ain't going to be no bailouts on this one. That's good stuff right there. The bank went under, like I said, in 48 hours. 48 hours! 2 days it took for this bank to go under. Now, you may ask yourself, why of all banks? Why this bank? How did that happen? Here it goes. And it's really this simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's just this cut and dry. There's a lot of people who be like, oh, you're oversimplifying it. No, I'm not. Here it go. Obama signed Dodd-Frank in 2010. Trump signed legislation undoing it in 2018. The legislation shielded banks from collapsing. Trump talked about it often. He often talked about overturning Dodd-Frank. He would go on and on about it. They showed different clips of him talking about it, and he even made the joke about how his banker buddies were going to be really happy for it. What? So I'm like, were people not paying attention? Nah, people weren't paying attention. And when he said that, I heard a lot of people saying that that was a big deal and that was something to watch for. But when it happened, and I do remember them making a big deal about it in the news somewhat. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it probably was a big deal for a day and a half, maybe a half a day. But then they moved on. But see, this right here shows why elections matter, votes matter, candidates matter, all that matters. Because look at that. You know, you had this legislation. So what happened was, you know what I'm saying? And I want to get the timeline right. But basically, it looks like in 2008, that's when the world went crazy. You know what I'm saying? With the housing bubble bursting and all that other crazy stuff that brought about that crazy depression that we had. Obama got in there. He did his thing. You know what I'm saying? In 2010, he signed Dodd-Frank, which was legislation that was going to make it so banks, you know, wouldn't go through this. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't get, you know, liquidated so fast or whatever and end up going under. You know, it shielded banks from this. As soon as Trump got in there, he overturned the legislation because his rich buddies wanted him to overturn the legislation. It was something that was going to make him, you know, revered with his base, and it did. And then, boom, you got this going on right now. So, TI is what a TI is, ladies and gentlemen. The proof is in the pudding. These are the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Men lie, women lie. But the numbers don't lie. These numbers don't lie, and that is the timeline. That's what it looks like. All that stuff went down. Obama tried to fix it. Trump came in and undid Obama's fixing. Now we're at where we're at with these people going under in 48 hours, 2 days. That was quick. That was really, really quick. And then I had seen the story about it or whatever. I would impress upon everybody listening to this right now to Google this story because it's real interesting. But there's some cat in Silicon Valley. I can't remember his name, but he's real influential. And he started pulling money out of this bank. And when he started pulling money out, a lot of other people got scared. They started pulling their money out. And that's why they said within 48 hours, the bank was done. It didn't have enough cash on hand to meet its bills or cover its bills or debts or whatever. So, wow. But Dodd-Frank sought to protect banks from stuff like this, and Trump undid it. Trump undid it. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, if you listen to Fox News and people on the right, they say this bank went under not because of Dodd-Frank being undone. No, that had nothing to do with that. It had to do with this bank being too woke. There we go again with that garbage. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do not fall for that idiocracy. Woke. How is a bank too woke? And they gonna say this bank was having trainings on Lesbian Awareness Month or something. Even if they were, so what? So what? Who cares? That's a good idea. You know what I'm saying? And education is never a bad thing. So it ain't bad to educate. If there is such a thing as Lesbian Awareness Month, we should all be educated about it. We should all be celebrating it and know what it's about and all of that good stuff. That has nothing to do with legislation being present to stop things and then an idiot coming in and undoing it, making it to where those things happen. A bank being woke ain't got nothing to do with that. So when the right go on and on about, oh, this bank was woke, all these woke policies is what brought this bank to ruin, and blah, 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 blah. Fox News, shut up. Oh, my Lord. Shut up. I almost said shut the... Look, shut up. Just shut up, man. Shut up. And it's hard to watch that madness because that's all they have. If you notice, that's all they... Any problem they have, all they can throw it in now is woke, 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 woke. It's these woke policies that's bringing this country to ruin. The woke, 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 woke. So it was wokeness that made this bank go under, and ain't nobody at that bank woke. There's a bunch of Republicans running that bank. It's a bank. Get out of here. Anyway, moving on. As I see my time is drawing out, let me keep it moving. This is the last thing I'm going to deal with. Let's talk about how Trump is due to get arrested on Tuesday. Now, they're always playing with our emotions. They've been playing with our emotions. You know, he'll get arrested, and Trump is being indicted, and Trump this, Trump that. The family's being indicted. New York City attorney indicting the Trump family, blah, 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 blah. All that crap. You always hear these sound bites or whatever, and of course, like I said, I'm sick of playing with my emotions. That guy ain't never going to jail. He's protected on high by the Prince of Darkness himself. Trump ain't never going to jail. But, he tweeted himself that he was looking to go to jail on Tuesday, that it might go down. And it looks like what might him up is that hush money that he paid to Stormy Daniels. That happened a million years ago when Trump was first coming on the scene. I mean, there have been jokes made about it. I'm sure it has, and I know for a fact it has boosted her career. It definitely helped her out because of the nature of her business. I'll leave it at that. It's a family show. I'll leave it at that. But point being, it has boosted her career because she is, she thought she was famous before. She real famous now, right? But it looks like that is what might do the man in, because it looked like he used campaign money to pay her off for the NDA, for the non-disclosure agreement, to be quiet. About their interminglings, and that is illegal. You cannot use campaign money for anything but your campaign. That means you get campaign signs. You could pay your staffers. You could pay to get those little signs that go in people's yards. You could pay for the little things that you hang on people's doors. You can hang on the mailers that you send out in the mail. You can pay for buttons. You cannot pay for a porn star to be quiet about your sexual affair. So there's that, ladies and gentlemen. That might actually do him in. That is so interesting. He has tweeted out to his followers on that True Social that he's got, talking about, avenge me and all this other stuff. So we'll see what goes down, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm not going to lie. I say to all my listeners, I say to anybody within earshot, be careful. Be extremely careful, because there's a lot of people who are way invested in this MAGA madness. And I guarantee you there's going to be some violence that goes down. It'll probably be closer, to Trump, or where all this is going to be going down there, wherever they call themselves arresting him. Like, are they going to go to Mar-a-Lago and actually go and make him do a perp walk? That would be amazing. That would be must-see TV. I don't believe it'll happen. This is America. Trump is a rich white man. That ain't happening. If it does, though, I don't know. Some people say, hey, if it happens, I eat my hat. I don't want to say that because I don't want to eat no hats. But let me tell you, if it happens, I'll be surprised. I'll be like, wow, this is really a new day, ain't it? But we'll see what happens. But he running around scared that he might go to the joint on Tuesday. He might actually go to the joint on Tuesday. I mean, my Lord, this guy's got a laundry list of criminal offenses. It's about time that something caught up to him. And it'd be interesting that one of the first things that he really got in trouble with, one of his, more high-profile blunders, is going to be the thing that could take him down with all the other stuff that he's done. I mean, colluded with a foreign power to influence an election and all this other wild, crazy stuff. It could be that actually takes him down. But I guess that just shows how things, come full circle, right? That is my time, ladies and gentlemen. This is Urban Politics. I'm your humble host, Fizz and Music. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Please, as soon as you have a chance, take yourself on over to YouTube, like and subscribe. Fizz and Music, Urban Politics, where politics lives. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, see you around like a donut.